everyone, and welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by a fan. I am your host, as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning Fan Show. Oh, thank you. You're too kind. I did want to take a moment to say hello and happy Thursday. This is the day that we have shifted from the focus of the NFL, and we are now exerting all of our energy, our positive vibes, forging onward to the kickoff of the 2020 IFL season. Hallelujah, amen. But there's someone trying to steal a little bit of the spotlight from the IFL. It is the XFL. Yeah, this is the XFL. That's my best Vince McMahon impersonation as far as that infamous night that nobody knew he was going to do that. And here we are. We've got XFL football. WWF presents XFL football. Vince McMahon brings you the XFL, and he marches out onto that field, 50-yard line with a microphone doing that Vince strut. And he gets on there and he says, "This is the XFL." Like, wow. Being in junior high, middle school, when that happened, like, that was such just a mind-blowing moment, because it just the balls it took him to do something so off script, knowing that he is the chairman of a entertainment just juggernaut, WWE, which happens to be scripted. The irony. There's too much. The irony was really too much on that one. But here we are. That had a season, it came and it went. They had a championship. They got further than the AAF. Don't know how much that's saying, but had it not been for a generator running out of gas during a live broadcast, who knows what the XFL could have been. But now we have the reincarnation of the XFL. XFL 2.0. A rebranded, a new look, a different feel XFL. What does that mean? I don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about it, because breaking news, maybe to some of you, but if you've seen the commercials, the advertisements, the big announcement last year, the XFL is happening this weekend. That's part of our headline. So without further ado, or much more delay, let's go ahead and get right to it on episode 449 of The Fan Show. Headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, and they want to customize your world, and they can do that in a number of ways. They can provide awesome t-shirts, they can do hats, beanies, polos, tablecloths, backdrops, trophies, awards, plaques, even championship belts. So if there's something that you need done, and they also do business cards, so no project too big or small. Dynamite Enterprises is your one-stop shop to get it done. Proud partner of the Fan Show. I've gone to them for just about everything that I've ever needed, and I have never once been dissatisfied with the service or the quality of the product. There was a shipping issue for a backdrop, and Ethan, who you can reach out to, Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com, went and took care of it, and I got not one but two more backdrops. So I can't vouch for them enough. If you guys need stuff done, Dynamite Enterprises is the place to go. All right, so visit dynamiteenterprises.com, and then, of course, check out their Instagram. Instagram is Dynamite Enterprises. They've got a great Instagram. All the stuff that they've done and continue to do are on there, so go check it out. The headlines, of course, as you see on the ticker, that's mostly what we will be discussing. We are 31 days away from IFL kickoff, and the big one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The big story, which is the IFL kickoff. Okay, let's be real. This is the Fan Show. We talk IFL here. But that's 31 days away, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But what is not 31 days away. What is happening in just 2 more sleeps? XFL Week 1. Seattle Dragons going to D.C. to take on the Defenders. The Wildcats of L.A. will visit Houston and try their luck against the Roughnecks. That's Saturday. ABC and Fox, so pretty good television deals there. Sunday, the Vipers of Tampa Bay will head upstate to New York, and they will take on the Guardians. And then finally, your last game of Week 1. How will football, XFL style, have been up to this point? Has it delivered? Has it kept its promises? Or is it last gasp of hope clinging to the Battlehawks of St. Louis taking on the Dallas Renegades? That's on ESPN. Will you be watching? That's my question to you, Fan Nation. Will you be watching the XFL this weekend? Yes or no? Who are you rooting for? Of course, it's no secret. My team is the Dragons. I even did their little GIF screenshotty deal and saw that it will be the Dragons, as if there was any doubt. We've got Ernesto Lacayo representing the IFL at the XFL level, so that's fantastic. And we'll take a look at the chat here. I'd like to welcome John, Barry, Ernesto, speaking of which, Emily, Ray, Jason, good to see you guys. Your thoughts on the XFL version 2.0. A very hands-off, very Vince hands-off version of the XFL. If he ends up marching out to the middle of the field in D.C. when the Dragons take on the Defenders with a microphone in hand, I'm going to be like, it's over before it even started. But my understanding is that he has been very, very hands-off. Very hands-off. He's letting Commissioner Oliver Luck pretty much handle the whole thing. Smart business move. And Vince, though he lacks in a lot of areas, is a very savvy businessman. Very, very savvy. It will be a very sad day when Vince McMahon passes. As someone who has heeded his advice to young entrepreneurs and businessmen all over the world, it will be a very sad day when Vince McMahon's number finally gets called. Just saying that. And Adam also says that 9 more sleeps until Motion City soundtrack. Yes, that is also true. 9 more sleeps until Motion City soundtrack in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where they're from. That's going to be a crazy concert. It's going to be a lot of fun. Adam says, it's football. I love football, so I will watch the XFL. Matt says, I'll check it out. It's only for curiosity's sake. I feel like if we're soured on spring football, at least outdoor 11-on-11, it's because we had the XFL, and then we had this hiatus, right, of spring outdoor football. It was kind of the spring and summertime was dominated by the world of indoor, and that's what a lot of us are used to. Arena football, indoor football, Champions indoor football, whatever. That was the football that we were used to transitioning over to, because it is outdoor football, indoor, on a field a third the size of a regular one, not 8-on-8, and it's full action, hard hitting, high scoring. A lot of people really like that concept. So you had the AAF, which was football as we know it, as we enjoy it, pretty much just a spring developmental league, and they couldn't finish what they started. So you go XFL, who did finish what they started, but then folded after a season, after their $1 million game. Then, years later, the AAF, it looks like they're going to do things right, that they've got the right pieces in place, and then they couldn't hit the finish line. And so now we have, a year later, the second version of the original Spring League, right? I mean, you can say NFL Spring League, you can say NFL Europe, but the XFL is really sort of the standard, as far as not NFL, if you want to call it that. So here we have the second version of it. The wound is still a little fresh from the AAF, is it not? And the rules are going to be different. The scoring, similar, but they are, without a doubt, their own version of the outdoor game. They want to be different from the NFL. They want to have a faster-paced outdoor 11-on-11 football. They want scoring to be different. They don't want ties. And I'm very intrigued to see how this all plays out, because it's not just harder hitting football. In fact, I don't think that they've really promoted that it's going to be harder hitting like the original XFL was. I think this is just a different version of the game we know and love outdoors. They're going to be sort of going toe-to-toe with the indoor game, which is fine. I guess to each their own. You will pick who you want to watch. I see that Kenneth has joined us. Chris has joined us. Matt says also World League in 91. Very true. So there's been a lot of versions of this, right? The XFL is just the most memorable because Vince McMahon, through his name, slapped it right on there and said, I approve. And then they got through a season and that was it. You had nicknames on the back of the jerseys. You had The Rock, and you had guys that are WWE commentary doing the commentary for the football games like good old JR. And you just had this real WWE feel, this real attitude era feel to football. I mean, it was something like the greatest combination of all time. If you're a teenage boy who liked to drop elbows from his bed onto his little brother, right? I mean, that's what we were talking about. And this is not that. This XFL is not that. I'm very curious to see how it's received once all the promoting, all the glitz and glam is done and over with, and it's time to nut up or shut up. It's time to play football. Very curious. Adam says, I want Dragons jersey, but the stitched ones they have are selling for $220. They might be banking on the fact that this could possibly not go more than a season. So they want to make sure they get their money where they can. Luke has joined us. What's up, Luke? Good to see you. We're talking about the XFL. Will you watch? Who's your team if you have one? If you're going to watch, what are your expectations? Are they high? Are they low? Are they kind of wavering in the middle? I wouldn't blame you. Any of them, really. If you have high expectations, it's probably because you love football. And you know that you love the old XFL, and although this new XFL is a little different, you still like the idea that football is not over. It hasn't been over for 20 years. When it comes to the end of the NFL, people just don't acknowledge the indoor game. And they should. They should acknowledge indoor football because it's a fantastic type of football. Fantastic. But also, if you have low expectations, completely understandable, because you may have been a huge fan of the original XFL. You may have had your hopes high for that, and it let you down. You may have said, okay, here comes the AAF. I'll give this a try. And it let you down. So if you have low expectations, perfectly understandable. If you're wavering in the middle, if this is a try before you buy, a wait and see, again, totally understandable. I can see it from all three angles. Luke says he's never watched, but there's no better time than now. I agree. If you're going to watch the Seattle Dragons. They're going to beat the DC Defenders this Saturday, February 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. I'm sorry, I'm not going to act like I'm not biased. You guys that have been fans of the show for the last 5 years now, it's just crazy to think now that I say that out loud. But you guys that have been fans of the show for the last 5 years or have known me for that amount of time and beyond, you know that one of my biggest pet peeves is when guys that host shows or broadcasts that cover an entire league or an entire sport say that they're unbiased, and really they're not. I do not try to hide the fact that I am biased. When it comes to the NFL, I'm a Niners fan through and through till I am dead and cold. Okay? Plain and simple. So of course I'm going to talk about them. I'll be real when the time calls for me to be a realist fan. I will be the eternal optimist, but I can also be real. But the XFL, I got a team. Seattle Dragons, go Dragons. I didn't really have a team for the AAF. I said I really liked the San Diego Fleet. I thought that was a sharp look, so I kind of cheered for them. But you have these guys up in a booth that broadcast these games that have played for teams before, like Chris Collinsworth, who every time he talks about the Bengals says, my Bengals. So it's like, we know that you're biased. Just be honest about it. I'm trying to be honest with you guys. I am biased when it comes to these leagues and these teams. Luke also says, how do I watch? Serious question. Well, if you have Sling, Hulu, or other that you can get ABC, Fox, and ESPN on, that would be the way to watch. Those are some pretty legit TV deals. John says, welcome, John, also. John says, Tyson Graham with the Dragons went to USD. Even more reason to cheer for the Dragons. South Dakota residents. Even more reason. I think it will be a great weekend. I really do. Welcome, Caden. Good to see you. For those of you listening that you're like, why is he welcoming people? Where do I see these people? We're live on Facebook. Facebook.com/FanShowOfficial. This is where we broadcast live for a little fan interaction at the beginning of the show before we get to the interview portion, which tonight, Kenneth Van Heule returns to the show. Big Van Heule, Kenny Bravo, as I like to call him. He wants to eventually wind up wrestling, preferably for WWE, and I think his character, his gimmick should be Kenny Bravo. He's got this golden hair that when it's styled correctly, he looks and can sometimes act just like Johnny Bravo. So what better gimmick, what better name than to be the clueless ladies' man that can dominate in the ring, known as Kenny Bravo. So I will be his advocate. I will be his ring announcer, his manager, if Mr. Van Heule should make it to the ranks of WWE or AEW, and he wants to be Kenny Bravo, I'm all for it. Anyway, that was sidebar. I got off track. A great interview with him, though. We talk about him signing with the Bismarck Bucks. They are the opener for the 2020 IFL season. They will host San Diego Strikeforce. That is how your 2020 season will begin. Then Quad Cities plays the next night. I forget who Quad Cities plays. I knew I should have opened the IFL tab. My mistake. But if anyone who is watching right now knows who Quad City plays opening weekend, let me know. I'll plug it. But yeah, that's how your 2020 IFL season will start. Caden says, go Roughnecks. No, go Dragons, bro. Justin says, such a good podcast. I appreciate you, Justin. And then let's see here. Justin says, XFL is on all major TV networks. Good to know. And yes, Ernesto Lacayo is with the Dragons. And he'll be there Saturday in Houston. Hey, let me know how you like it. I've got some XFL news as well in my pocket that I'm sitting on. But I think it'll be good. I really do. I think it'll be different. I think it's been marketed right. But I said that about the AAF too. Everything that I'm saying now I said about the AAF, and we all know how that ended. Early, prematurely, and we didn't really see it coming. So hopefully this can finish what it starts. And I think that as long as Vince McMahon is signing your paychecks, yeah, it should. Cedar Rapids. Brian says Cedar Rapids plays QC. All right, so you've got San Diego at Bismarck, and then you've got Cedar Rapids at Quad City. A good opening weekend. Should be a very good opening weekend. As you'll hear me and Kenneth talk, both San Diego and Bismarck are out to prove pretty much the same thing, that they had their honeymoon in the IFL last season. It wasn't great. One was an expansion team. One was a newly acquired team. And I think that they're both going to really look to make some noise this season, because you don't want, since there are now three other new teams, one returning, another newly acquired, another expansion, and another expansion team, Frisco and Oakland. Yeah, wow, crazy how many teams there are. But you don't want one of them to outdo you. And I know that Spokane's probably going to be good, but that's kind of an asterisk, right? Because well, you know why? Because it's the Spokane Cobras, the Spokane Shocks. Sorry, I mean that's what I mean. I love Billy Back, but it is trash talk season. You know, we're gonna have Trash Talk Tuesday. I'm excited for that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But it's all fun and games. Keep it lighthearted here on the Fan Show. So the XFL this weekend, I'm excited for it. I will watch it. Go Dragons. That's the Seattle team. We got an IFLer there named Ernesto Lacayo, so that'll be good. Eric Weddle announced his retirement from the NFL. That was sad because Eric Weddle was a really good defensive back. Very good player. Six-time Pro Bowler. I think he will end up in the Hall of Fame, especially because he helped pretty much every team that he was on. Baltimore, the Chargers when they were still in San Diego, he did great there. And then this last stint with the Rams, I mean, he was a really good player. I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame. First ballot, I don't know. Luke said the Shockers so good. They are. I don't doubt they'll be good. But these teams that they were here last year and they kind of got a feel for it, they're out for blood this year. They want to definitely be in contention for the postseason and the playoffs, and that'll be good. They're going to have Sioux Falls to deal with. But hey, that's nothing new. It's nothing new. Let's see. What else is news? BattleBots. For our robotics division, BattleBots posted today that their 2020 season tickets, or I guess their taping tickets, the tickets for their season taping, there we go, will go on sale next Friday, Valentine's Day, actually. So get the tech nerd or the robot geek, your significant other, some BattleBots tickets. That'd be cool. I don't know the dates yet, but I'd love to go back, even for a day or two, see my friends, get some pit interviews, but we'll see. It really just all depends on how my work schedule pans out. I know I'm probably not going to have any time available during the season, which I'm okay with, but who knows? There's bye weeks and stuff like that. We'll see. But for those of you that do watch that are BattleBots fans, go and get those tickets. If you've never seen a taping, if you've never been there live, I encourage you to go because it will be awesome. It will be fantastic. Brian says QC and CR opened the IFL season. Oh, yeah. I looked at the calendar earlier. I could have swore it was Bismarck in San Diego. I could have, look, they're playing back-to-back days. I could have just gotten the wrong day, Brian. My bad. Okay, so according to Brian, there's been a lot going on here for the fan show. A lot going on for me. So that is my mistake. I will own up to it. QC and CR, so Quad City, the Steamwheelers, and the River Kings of Cedar Rapids open the IFL season. And then Bismarck hosts the San Diego Strike Force. All right? We good now? But anyway, I would have corrected it next week because next week, it's full steam ahead. So get your BattleBots tickets. Tell Eric Weddle thank you for his time in the IFL or in the NFL. And I'm curious to see who else retires because I know that there's been a lot of guys talking about. We're on Brady watch right now. Who would have known that we'd be on Brady watch? We were on Manning watch. We were on what was another watch we were on for Manning watch was probably the most tense off-season watch of a player that I can ever recall. But Manning watch, man, was that crazy. 49ers were in the running. Denver was in the running, and Denver eventually got him. But wow, that was an off-season. That was a period of time that was crazy and chaotic. But now we're on Brady watch, apparently. Where is he going to go? His kids are registered for school in Tennessee, and somebody had to go and be that guy and say, oh, he grew up a 49ers fan. Get out of here. No, it's not. It won't happen. It won't. Welcome, Dylan. And Brian says, I love giving you crap. It's all right. I'll take crap from you, Brian. It's okay. I'm trying to think if there was anything else needed to cover. We went through a lot on Tuesday. Tuesday was a really good episode. I had Ernesto Lacayo on, so make sure that if you haven't listened to that one or haven't watched that one on the replay on Facebook to do so. But also don't forget to go and check out Undisputed Belts for all your belt needs. Undisputed Belts, the official sponsor and partner of the Fan Show and the Fan Nation Fantasy Football League 4 years running. And very, very happy with the product there. You've seen the belt, the custom one that I carry around on the Fan Show tour each year. And, of course, the winner, which Le Champion, Adam Lampert, will get his own belt this year, courtesy of Undisputed Belts. So go and check them out. Good to see you, Alante. Matt says, Favre watch for 3 offs. I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to go down the Favre road because that was 3 years of Favre watch. You're absolutely right. Oh, man, those were the days, weren't they? Favre watch, those were the days. So we had Favre watch. We had Manning watch. Now we have Brady watch. But I could have swore there was another player that we were all watching to see where they were going to go. Who was it recently? I don't think it was this last season. I think it was a year or two before we were wondering where they were going to end up. And I can't, for the life of me, think of who it is. Man. It wasn't Rodgers. No, it wasn't Wilson. That's never been the case. I mean, the Jimmy Garoppolo trade was a big deal, but it wasn't during the offseason. That wasn't, Jimmy watch. Where is he going to go? What was another one? Was it a quarterback or was it somebody else? Was it a receiver or running back? That could have been. Anyway, yeah, we had 3 seasons of Favre Watch. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, John, I'll give you Kirk Cousins. I will. John chimed in. He said Kirk Cousins. But I think the caveat to that is we all thought that he was going to go and play in San Francisco for Shanahan. And then the Garoppolo deal happened, and then Minnesota gets him. And what was interesting about him landing in Minnesota is that they had just made it a deep run in the playoffs with a quarterback that they had like 3 guys that were qualified starting quarterbacks, and they got rid of all 3 of them to get Kirk Cousins. That's what was crazy about that one. But yeah, good. Matt says in Green Bay it was constant. I bet it was. I don't envy cities of teams where there's a player that you're constantly watching. I feel like that would probably get really annoying really fast. So Matt, the fact that you live to tell about Favre Watch for 3 years, props to you. Yeah, Kirk Cousins though, that was another one. I will give you credit for that. I just don't think a lot of people thought and still think he's an overrated quarterback, so I don't know if it was really that big of a deal, but they knew that he would. It looked like all signs were pointing to him going to San Francisco, and then like an RKO out of nowhere, Minnesota, and they had. I thought Keenum was going to stick around, and he didn't. But man, that was an interesting offseason for sure. Was there anybody else? Was there a non-quarterback that people were just like clinging to their phones, like constantly refreshing and scrolling to see if they had landed somewhere? Anyway, I don't want to get too far down the Izzy, because we got a great interview coming up here in just a few minutes with Kenneth Van Heule. But anyway, I think you guys should all check out the XFL. I think it'll be great for you guys to watch. I know that I will be watching, obviously, and I'm very excited about it. And I think it'll be better than it was. And I'm not saying that there is a high bar. I think there's a bar like somewhere in the middle, right? You know, a reasonable bar to try to hit if you're an XFL fan or if you're even skeptical. It'll be good though. This first, we'll get a taste of it. We'll see. I think a lot of people are going to criticize first thing Monday the new rules and the way that they play the game. So be ready for that. That's going to be some water cooler talk right there for sure in the office. But other than that, I think we're still going to have some really quality football. I think they've done everything right that they can. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Was there anything else I wanted to cover? So make sure that you've marked your calendars for Cedar Rapids and Quad City in 31 days from now. And then, of course, Bismarck and San Diego the next night for your IFL Week 1 opener. It should be a lot of fun. And then Sioux Falls' turn. Week 2, they will host those Bucks of Bismarck. I almost said those Bicks of Buzzmark. That'd be funny if that sticks. But anyway, Sioux Falls home opener to kick off its Golden Season, the 20th anniversary. That is March 15th. And wow, crazy. That is coming up. So here we go. My conversation with the man, the myth, the legend that is Kenneth Van Heule. Enjoy my talk with Kenny Bravo. All right, Fan Nation, joining me now, returning to the Fan Show with a vengeance. He's going to be part of the new look 2020 Bismarck Bucks. He is the man from the offensive line, known as Kenneth Van Heule. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing great. It's countdown to IFL. I mean, yeah, the ending of the NFL season kind of sucked for me, but I mean, with the end of one season marks the countdown to the beginning of another, and that's of course our favorite time of the year, the IFL.
Oh, most definitely.
You're going to be in Bismarck though, and I got to say, smart move by them. Cody Barber will be returning as kicker. Don't know a lot about the squad as of right now. I know that they had some playmakers last year. Homer Kazi was a pretty good quarterback for them. They had Eric Lauderdale, who was a great receiver. They had this awesome fullback. God, what was his name? Was it Patrick? But anyway, what's your vibe now that you've signed with Bismarck? You're not there yet, but obviously they must have said something that was music to your ears to get you to come up and freeze with us here in the Midwest.
Yeah, I mean, I know a couple of guys on that team that's going back there. I've watched them, especially from last year. The guys that they brought back are, a talented handful of guys. And I mean, I played with Coach Miller back in 2016 with the Wichita Force. Won a championship with him there. I know what he brings to the table, and I know what kind of connections that he has. And I felt like that was kind of a move that I needed to do, especially at this time of my career and everything, because once you get older, your window of opportunity gets smaller and smaller. So I felt like this was the best move for me right now.
Yeah, I don't feel like the window that seems to be closing faster than it was ever open is not fair to you guys, because I know that, you can still bring it, obviously, but, they don't look at whether or not you can bring it. They look at your date of birth, what age you are now, and it's just like, come on, you got to give a little bit more credit to these guys that are still trying to do it. And thankfully, though, last episode, talked to Ernesto Lacayo. He's going to go kick for an XFL team, the Seattle Dragons. So obviously with the AFL folding up shop, the XFL coming onto the scene, and we know the what ended up being the disaster that was the AAF last year. Although it started off great, I had a lot of high hopes, but I think the XFL will be different. And what's been your communication like with those teams? Have you gotten a hold of anyone, sent your tape? Like, I know that you're always looking for that next opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I've sent an email out to the scouting part of the XFL, gave them all the film, that I have, gave them all my stats and what teams I've played for and stuff like that. I mean, the only bad part is, the guys that got in, they had agents to get them in, and a lot of us, we don't have agents. So, a lot of us don't have agents that'll actually do stuff for us. So that's what kind of bites us in the butt. But Coach Miller, from what he's told me, he's real connected, with the O-line coach in Seattle. So, I mean, who knows, I may be in Seattle with Ernesto, either, maybe sometime this year or for sure next year, depending on, how badass I do this season on the field and everything. So,
well, I'll make sure that we keep an eye on you with Bismarck, and the XFL, the Dragons need to quit signing my guys. I mean, that's my team for the XFL, but it's like I'm looking forward to see you guys in the IFL. So it's a great spot for you guys to land. It really is. Jim Zorn, when I had a chance to meet him and talk with him, he really, I think, is going to be a player's coach. And I know that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about when I say a player's coach. And they've been leading ticket sales for all the teams in the XFL. So you guys are going to have one hell of a crowd to play for should you land with the Dragons this year or the next. But that's good, man. That's good to keep in constant contact and make sure that your highlights are up to date and that you're just mixing and mingle with the right folks. That's really all that you can do. I mean, I know from experience on my end that it just takes, talking to one guy and then talking to another guy and talking to another guy. And then you hopefully talk to the right guy somewhere in there. So let's talk about a preview for this season. You guys will play the first week, and I forget who's the opponent you guys have for that opening week.
San Diego.
The new look Strike Force, and then you guys come to Sioux Falls for the Storm home opener, and that's going to be a special game. But the season hasn't even started yet, and I heard a terrible rumor that Bismarck is apparently power ranked dead last right now. Like, did you see or hear that?
Yeah, I saw that. That whole power ranking from that certain individual or group is a joke. I don't take that personally. I know, some of the players do, but stuff like that, it's just blasphemy. It actually makes me laugh because they obviously know nothing. They're just going based off last year. They don't really know any actual information based on players that have gotten signed, and they haven't done their research. So, I mean, it's indoor football and new how certain players are and stuff like that, it'd be different. But you can't just go off, the season last year. I mean, yeah, it wasn't good, but it's not going to be the same for sure this year. It's going to be a whole big turnaround. So, but yeah, people like that, I don't take what they say seriously. I just laugh at them. They're a joke. So anyone that listens to them, they don't need to take them. Yeah, they don't need to listen to them.
Yeah, it was interesting nonetheless. Made its rounds, and I was like, oh, okay. Because, look, I kind of ditched doing power rankings because they're supposed to be fun, and there's no way that you're going to do those without offending somebody. But, my rule is that I had to have rules if I was going to do it before the season started. And my rule was simple. The champ was number one. And if there was an expansion team, they were dead last because you hadn't seen them play at all. And I know people, when they do these, try to go off of who they signed as a coach and their experience and the player signings and like that. That's all well and good. But until they have played a down, a quarter, a whole 60 minutes of football, they are at a disadvantage from every other team that has at least played the game before them. Plain and simple.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I certainly wish you guys the best, and I hope that this is a turnaround for the Bucks because I think Bismarck is a great market. I can't wait to, see you guys play up there and then to host you. But I know that you wouldn't have signed there if you didn't think it was going to be a good spot for you because you've gone places where you were miserable, and I tried to tell you, maybe don't go there. But that's in the past. It's all well and good. You've played for championship franchises now. You helped Iowa get there first. And, the league is forever grateful for guys like you because it created parity in the IFL, something that we hope continues. And I think that the growth, the expansion for more guys to get more opportunities now because there's more teams is awesome. And for someone like you, who, you're using every year to the best of your advantage to get yourself to the next spot, I'm all for it. So I'm very glad that you were able to land with a team that can utilize your talents. And don't forget, if things don't work out in Bismarck, I'll be just, 4.5 hours south of you. And I'm sure that linemen might be hard to come by during the season. So just putting it out there.
Yeah. Hey, you never know. I mean, just make sure you have the pull-out couch ready. So,
how's the off-season been treating you? What have you been working on? Like, I know that you guys that feel like the window is closing. You take the off-season as an opportunity to basically get yourself in peak physical condition. You were coming off of a season-ending injury last year. How has the rehab been?
I mean, it's been good. I mean, it was definitely the most, mental and physical, exhausting, physical therapy I've ever done. Wouldn't wish this injury on any athlete whatsoever. But, once I was able to do, what I normally can, it's been good. Knee feels nice and strong. Haven't had any issues whatsoever with squatting or deadlifts or running around, anything like that. Now, with that being said, all that's different compared to when you're playing on the field because you're doing a whole different kind of workout when you're playing football compared to in the gym. So, but I feel like I will hold up pretty well. Once the season goes on, once that first game when that whistle blows and everything, I'll probably be, hesitant a little bit. But once I start getting moving around and the adrenaline gets pumping, I think I'll be straight.
Yeah, and San Diego looks like it'll be kind of a remodeled team. Looking to, I mean, they did a overhaul as far as their look, a whole makeover for the logo, the uniforms. I mean, they look really good, but how you look and how you perform out on the field are two very different things. I've always kind of appreciated Bismarck's look. I would love to see a logo on your helmet, but even when I saw the uniforms up close last year when I was in Quad City. I was talking with Cody, and I said, your uniform is a really sharp look. That black with the orange highlights, it's a really solid look out there on the field. So I think you're going to look great in those. And I know that you in San Diego, obviously kind of on a similar mission. You had your maiden voyage, your trial run with the IFL, and now you're looking to not let any of these expansion teams try to take over or make a bigger splash than you guys want to. So it'll be some good competitive football. Who's your QB, or do you know yet?
I believe, it's Taz. Is it Tazlin?
Oh yeah, Taz. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't remember his last name. I just know him by Taz. So, but from what I watched, last year, and then from what my former teammate Latrez, who actually signed back with Bismarck, he's told me, he's a very, legit quarterback, and I'll be excited to block for him and stuff like that. So, if he's anything like Drew Powell, I'm going to be enjoying the game of football this year.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's going to be a very competitive field of football. Very excited about it. What's the one team that you're looking the most forward to playing against this year?
I'm not going to lie. I was really hoping that we'd have the Arizona Rattlers on our schedule, but that didn't play out too well. Going up against Tucson, I'm pretty excited about that. So we do play Tucson, so I'll be pretty stoked about that. But honestly, I feel like going against the Barnstormers will be pretty exciting, because I believe we play them 2 or 3 times, and we actually play them in Iowa. So I believe going back to Iowa would be, pretty fun for sure.
Oh, yeah. The fans, they love you down there. And I know that you had a really big impact on that team going all the way and winning the championship. So I'm sure they'll love to have you back. It's great that the fans are the kind that can welcome former players back like that and not have any, bitter feelings or resentment. So it's great for you. It's great for those guys. I know how much you love playing former teams, so I'm glad you get a shot at Dixie's crew down in Tucson.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arizona, that would have been a fun one for you for sure. But I think it's going to be, like I said, probably one of the best seasons of IFL football that we've ever seen, just because there's so many great coaches, so many great players, and these franchises, they're not messing around. There was a heavy and thorough vetting process for the new ownership groups, and they want to make sure that these teams are around not just for this year, but sustainable for the foreseeable future. So that's the handiwork of course, the expansion committee and new commissioner Todd Tryon, making sure that we've got good, solid teams in place for this season and beyond. Very exciting times, though, man. I'm glad you're going to be a part of it again, though. So let me know when you get up to Bismarck. I know it's a little bit of a drive, but it beats 18 plus hours from Spokane to wherever the hell you were at that point in time. All right, man. We'll go get your work in. I appreciate you taking the time, and we'll see you this season.
All right, sounds good.
All right, he is Kenneth Van Heule of the Bismarck Bucks, checking in here on the Fan Show. You take care. And one more big thank you to Kenneth Van Heule for taking the time to be here on the Fan Show. I do appreciate him. I appreciate all of you guys watching, of course, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this for 5 years. So I think it's crazy to think about, all things considered. Started this September 10th, 2015, and this will be, obviously it's been 5 years almost fully since the start, but we started covering indoor football February of 2016. It was something that I was looking for a niche, and I was like, how can I get people to listen to my show and get something that they can't get literally everywhere else like the NFL? So reached out to Spokane, the Empire, said, hey, you guys are starting a new thing. I'm starting a new thing. What do you think about joining forces? And yeah, exclusive coach player content. Got to go to every game. Started my Epic Credential Pass collection. Got to sit in the press box for the first time. And the rest, as they say, is history. And we're still going. 5 years of indoor football coverage starting this March. Wow. So thank all of you, Fan Nation. You are beautiful people. You guys are fantastic. Again, we are the award-winning fan show. And which reminds me, if you haven't voted for the fan show for the 2019 Spokane Best Of, probably the last and only time I'll ever be able to win it, please go and do so. Inlander.com/best of. And under the arts, best local podcast, fan show, I had been pushing them to put best podcast or podcast host on the ballot for years. And they do it the year that I move away. So hopefully we can sneak in there and get this one before it's obviously going to be somebody else next year and the years after. But they add and they take away all the time. I could be the only winner if I win of best local podcast. Who knows? But if you guys need more info on that, hit me up. But you guys have been great. We will be back Tuesday, under the 30-day mark then, for the countdown to kickoff for the IFL continues. I have a full recap of week 1 for the XFL. Very exciting time in the world of sports. The NFL is over, but we've got more football. We've got more fan show, football and nonsense 2020, full steam ahead. So remember, it's not official unless it's fan show official, and we are officially out of here. Until next time. Best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, Fan Nation.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the fan show.